All right. Week four's recap 101 reasons to check the scoreboard. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back to another DNS address. The cameras are rolling, the mics are hot, the recruiting boards are moving. And somewhere in Miami, the scoreboard operators asking for overtime pay. Week four gave us ranked wins, blowouts, heartbreak, bounce backs, one user versus user game that turned into a full-scale emergency. Let's get around the league. We head to Miami to start. Central Michigan went into Hard Rock Stadium for one featured user versus user matchup. Miami won 101-20. Yes, 101. This is not a typo. This is not a basketball score. That is not the result of accidentally leaving the difficulty on freshmen either. Miami scored 101 points. Darren Moss threw for 390 and 7 touchdowns. Backup Lance Medlock added 3 more passing touchdowns. Mark Fletcher Jr. rushed for 191 and 2 scores. Malachi Toney had one of the most ridiculous performances we've seen all season. 15 catches, 317 yards, 7 touchdowns. That earned him the Offensive Player of the Week. Central Michigan did get a 102-yard kickoff return from Justin Ruffin Jr., which was impressive. Unfortunately, Miami responded with about 14 more touchdowns. Coach Absolute, the advice this week is simple. Do not watch the film in entirety in one sitting. Take breaks, hydrate, maybe start with special teams. Miami improves to 3-1 and sends a loud message after last week's loss. Georgia Southern welcomed in number 25 Houston to Statesboro and came away with a 35-24 victory. Max Johnson threw for 248 yards and 3 touchdowns. River Helms caught 8 passes for 86 yards. Ashton Holland caught another 8 passes. And Brandon Tyson, the defensive leader, came up with a huge 44-yard interception return. Georgia Southern's now 4-0. They've beaten Clemson. They've beaten the ranked Houston team. At this point, we're done calling them a surprise. The Eagles are contenders. Coach Stonewall Bennett advice remains the same. Stay physical, stay disciplined. Do not read your own press clippings, except this one. This one is excellent. South Florida also improved to 4-0 after destroying Bowling Green 42-7. VBN Jr. threw for 3 touchdowns. DJ Crow ran for 166 yards. Kenny Odom caught 12 passes for 163 yards and 2 scores. And the Bulls defense added 5 sacks, 2 interceptions, a 53-yard pick 6 from Aiden Jackson, earning Jackson the Defensive Player of the Week honors. South Florida has been one of the cleanest, most consistent teams in the league. No drama. No crisis, no 101-point scoreboards, just dominant football. They may even be more dangerous. Georgia Tech is heating up. The Yellow Jackets beat Stanford 55-30. Albert Mendoza threw for 308, 5 tutties. Hosley ran for 126 and 2 scores. The defense recorded 6 sacks. Georgia Tech has now scored 50 points in back-to-back weeks. Coach Bobcat finally appears to have discovered the secret. Throw touchdowns instead of interceptions. Groundbreaking strategy. Georgia Tech is now 2-2 and trending upwards. Texas State is also climbing. The Bobcats beat FCS Midwest 42-10. Jalen Jenkins exploded for 224 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Caleb Jones added 4 tackles for loss and 2.5 sacks. After starting 0-2, Texas State has now won 2 straight. Coach Illis turned panic into momentum. Old Dominion survived James Madison 21-20. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't comfortable. But James rushed for 162 yards, and the Monarchs found a way to finish. Old Dominion improves to 3-1. Sometimes a win is a masterpiece. Sometimes a win looks like it's assembled in the parking lot. They all count the same. Troy handled Utah State 41-6. Goose Crowder threw 4 touchdowns. White had 117 receiving yards and 2 scores. Troy quietly improves to 3-1 and continues sitting just behind the league leaders. Don't sleep on the Trojans. Coach B Nasty is building something steady down there. Sacramento State bounced back with a 24-17 win over UMass. Carson Conkle did not throw a touchdown, but more importantly, he did not throw an interception. That is progress. Jamar Curtis rushed for 97 yards. Chancey Rainey added 64 and a touchdown. Sacramento State improves to 2-3. The Hornets didn't need fireworks. They needed discipline. They earned them the week's Build Not Given award. Arkansas State falls to Kennesaw State in our needs more film highlight of the week, 15-10. Trey Owens threw for 258 and had 2 interceptions. Nana Burst played well with 127 receiving yards on a touchdown. The Red Wolves have talent. They have explosive plays. They have to finish, though. The advice, stop letting close games become almost wins at some point. The scoreboard needs to reward the effort. Northern Illinois loses another close one, this time 19-14 to Georgia State. The Huskies are now 0-4. Once again, they were competitive. Once again, turnovers hurt them. Coach Brees, the defense is giving you opportunities. The offense has to stop handing these opportunities back. The bye week is coming up at the right time. Use it. Mississippi State falls to number 21 Missouri, 52-20. Fluff rushed for 185 yards. Passing game produced 97 yards. At this point, every defensive coordinator knows exactly what's coming. Fluff left, fluff right, fluff up the middle. Eventually, somebody has to help out Fluff. The status report of the week after 4 weeks, Georgia Southern and South Florida are 4-0. They are 2 of the final undefeated teams. Miami, Old Dominion, and Troy are all 3-1. Central Michigan, Georgia Tech, Texas State sit at 2-2. Sacramento State sits at 2-3. Arkansas State and Mississippi State sit at 1-3. Northern Illinois remains 0-4. The league's beginning to separate. Week 5 brings several major opportunities. Our Week 5 preview in our game of the week is going to be number 15 Miami at Clemson. This is a clear headline. Miami just scored 101 points. Now the Hurricanes head to Clemson. Clemson's already lost to Georgia Southern. If Miami wins too, the Tigers may file paperwork to leave the DNS schedule permanently. Miami gets a chance to prove last week was not just a response, it was a warning, hurricane warning, if you get the joke. Georgia Southern takes its perfect record on the road to Coastal Carolina. This is the dangerous regional game. The Eagles are no longer sneaking up on anybody. Everybody wants to be the team to see the streak end. Will it be Coastal this weekend? South Florida hosts Temple and looks to improve to 5-0. The Bulls have been dominant. The only concern is complacency. Don't let a game you should win be a game you have to survive. Old Dominion travels to face 4-0 Georgia State. This is a major road test in the Sun Belt. A win could push the Monarchs firmly into a championship conversation. Mississippi State hosts Alabama. The advice there, block everybody, pray a little bit, give Fluff the football. Hope Alabama forgets what time kickoff is. Texas State travels to San Diego State looking for a 3rd straight win. Arkansas State hosts Louisiana looking to stop the slide. Central Michigan gets Akron and a chance to recover from the Miami game. Northern Illinois, Troy, Georgia Tech, and Sacramento State are on byes. For the 4 teams, recruit, recover, fix the mistakes, do not waste the week. Commissioner picks of this week, Georgia Southern stays perfect. Central Michigan responds back with a win. Miami beats Clemson in a shootout. South Florida improves to 5-0. Old Dominion gives Georgia State their first loss of the season. Alabama survives in Starksville. Texas State wins its 3rd straight. Arkansas State gets back into the win column. Overall, Week 4 reminds us of one thing. Momentum changes quickly. Miami went from losing to Wake Forest to scoring 101 points. Texas State went from 0-2 to 2-2. Georgia Tech went from turnover problems to back-to-back 50-point performances. Georgia Southern and South Florida remain perfect. The standings are tightening. The pressure is rising. The excuses are getting weaker. Recruit hard. Protect the football. Win the turnover battle. Finish the game. And remember, in the Department of Natural Selection, only the strongest survive. Built, not given.